probably exactly what's going on. That, and you put on it this, pardoning the pun, holier-than-thou attitude. Look what you got.
Yeah. Now
they got the perfect setup for a gigantic scandal to blow up.
Yeah. Now here's the next two. I'm going to skip a couple of these, and we're going to because we've already pretty much spoke on the celibacy theory. This is a major theory right here. It's very controversial. I've seen things on television, on different news outlets and things like that, where people try to link homosexuality to pedophilia. And let me read you this real quick. This is still coming from the debate on causes of clerical child abuse and criteria for discernment of vocation for persons with homosexual tendencies. These are the two articles I'm referencing from. And with this theory, they quote Dr. Richard, I don't know his last name. It's spelled F-I-T-Z, Fitzgibbons, a psychiatrist with experience of treating abusers, suggests a link between homosexuality and child abuse. He said, quote, in fact, every priest who I've treated who was involved with children sexually had previously been involved in adult homosexual relationships, unquote. However, like James Cantor, an editor-in-chief of Sexual Abuse, a journal of research and treatment, disagrees. In an interview with CNN, he quotes, I quite solidly shown in the scientific literature that there is absolutely no association between a gay man and being a pedophile. So, what are your thoughts on this theory between that, where they try to link homosexuality with pedophilia? And do you think that's an accurate and fair assessment of the problem?
Well, I believe. Well, I got a couple different things I can tackle that with. Number one, I'm a college graduate, and when I attended college, I attended social science classes, took psychology and sociology, and both. And I also majored in criminal justice. And number one thing in criminal justice, when you are studying the investigation of sex offenses, they will tell you, and you can see it also in the social sciences, that heterosexuality, homosexuality, pedophilia are all separate categories. They are all separate categories. Because if you're going to connect homosexuality to pedophilia, then what about heterosexuality to pedophilia?
Right.
There are males that rape female children. Are they a straight pedophile? This is comparing, apples to oranges.
Right.
A lot of times in the, and also, I'd rather not disclose the exact job that I do perform here, but in dealing with some people that I deal with, there's, if you're going to compare homosexuality to it, then you can't do it without comparing heterosexuality to it. And all the good social sciences, all the think tanks say unanimously, I don't know where this Dr. Richard is coming from, but, I'm sure he's out on his own little tangent, that, pedophiles are a different class and a different association.
Right.
A pedophile could have heterosexual characteristics, and a pedophile could have homosexual characteristics. But pedophilia is pedophilia.
Well, I think about this, Michael. When I hear things like this, I really think that certain people take advantage of situations like this in order to promote their own agenda or their own propaganda. So when you hear stuff like this, you really need to question it. Go back and do your research up on this, because this person, they may know they may know what they're conveying to people is inaccurate, but if they have their own agenda, they're going to use situations like these to further promote their insecurities or their beliefs.
And everybody that's even taken a college level English class knows, you're forewarned on slanting the material in your favor.
Right. Well, that's one point that's been really prevalent in media, and I really want to touch on that before I move on. But the next thing I want to talk about is what do you think are the financial ramifications of this scandal? Because right here I'm going to read you something really quick from, once again, I'm on Wikipedia.com. I'm quoting from a specific article entitled "Settlements and Bankruptcies in Catholic Sex Abuse Cases." Okay, according to Donald Cousins, quote, by the end of the mid-1990s, it was estimated that more than $500 million had been paid in jury awards, settlements, and legal fees. This figure grew about $1 billion by 2002. The Roman Catholics spent $615 million on sex abuse cases in 2007. As of March 2006, the diocese in which abuse was committed or in which abuse allegations were settled out of court had made financial settlements with victims totaling over $1.5 billion. The number and size of these settlements made it necessary for the diocese to reduce their ordinary operating expenses by closing churches and schools in order to raise the funds necessary to make these payments. Several dioceses chose to declare Chapter 11 bankruptcy as a way to litigate settlements while protecting some church assets to ensure that it continues to operate. By 2009, the U.S. diocese has paid more than $2.6 billion in abuse-related costs since 1950. In many instances, dioceses were forced to declare bankruptcy as a result of settlements. At least 6 U.S. dioceses sought bankruptcy protection. In some cases, the diocese filed bankruptcy just before civil lawsuits against them were about to go to trial. This had an effect of mandating that pending and future lawsuits be settled in bankruptcy court. So wow. So after hearing that, and based on what you know, what is the future of the Catholic Church in your opinion, financially?
Well, first off, I have heard those similar statistics that you just quoted. I have heard numbers very similar to that. The only thing I can really say to that is you wonder why the Catholic Church is playing stupid. You wonder why they're doing it?
Why is that?
Why they shuffled around and kept it quiet?
Well, tell us why.
Because this is what they're trying to avoid. This is exactly what they tried to avoid, because they know if it got out and if it really went to a storm, they knew they would lose money. They knew they would probably bankrupt certain places.
Yeah.
And I completely understand, I see why.